Okay, so this is the magnetic door switch project, which I used an RFID scanner, which is right there, an RGB right there, and then the PIR motion sensor is sitting right there on top of the old cylinder block, the old aero motor right there. So then going to here, code, the PIR sensor is on A1, and a lot of the stuff is the generic RFID code that I later modified below. This Boolean variable is for reading the RFID function. Both of these four statements are also from the RFID pin. So in the void setup, I have the PIR as an input, then I also have serial begin for any debugging. This is also from the RFID. This is just saying that it's getting ready to read. It's turning on the reader, so you use it to approximate using these two cards. So we can designate either of these two as allowing RFID access and being denied. Later on, I'll show you which one I did. In the void loop, I created an integer for reading the PIR value from the sensor, then outputting that in the pin. Then I have the RGB as a constant state of green, which, as you can see, it's how it is right now until it senses a motion, then it will turn red, like that. So then, right there, it's in green. This RGB underscore color is just an RGB function that I created, so it's a lot easier to use. It's a lot cleaner. So once the PIR value is written as high, because if you remember from before, it's just an input. So currently it's reading 0. So but when it sees a movement, it'll go high. So output a 1. So once it reads high, turn red. Output that you found someone. Wait for 2 seconds for someone to use RFID. So like this tag or the white tag that I showed before by the RFID scanner to see if access is allowed. Then if access is allowed, set everything back to normal. So the PIR values would go back to low, and then this axis would be red again. And the reason for reading it again is because there won't be any card there. Because what I usually do is when I put the card there, it reads it, and then I move the card away, because that's usually how it goes. If you leave the card there, it'll continuously read the card as access denied or access granted. This is an RFID function that's later on in the code. Then else, if nothing else happens, keep everything else the same. So set this as low, set the axis as false, and keep the RGB as green. So this is the void RGB function that just it only takes the inputs of the values for the red, green, or blue value. There are their pins. They're all created as outputs. They're analog, right? So it reads the pin and then it maps that to the value that you inputted with it. The input RFID was I found online the generic version, so I took away anything I didn't need, like the void setup and void loop lines, because this is I'm just having this as a function. And the important thing to note is this is an integer, so it returns a 0 or 1 by this pass variable. So if when the card is accepted, pass equals 1. So a lot of this stuff is not entirely sure because just not necessary. What's the most important part is this part right here. This is where it reads the card. So this is the ID of the white card. So this white card, come back down, this white card right here, that'll be access allowed, and that's access denied. So this white card, that's what you're seeing on the screen right there. Whoops. Did not mean to do that, but it'll be fine. So then, if you use the white card, it'll authorize access, and then RGB will turn white, and then you'll play a song. And then it will wait 3 seconds the song will play for 3 seconds, then pass will go to 0. Then it'll get out of this function and continue on in the void loop. Else, if access is denied, it'll flash, the red color will flash on and off for, you can see an iteration of 4 times, so using a for loop, so it'll just blink red, then it'll play another song, and then delay that for 3 seconds, and then it'll set the pass back, and it'll set pass to 1, and it'll return what that pass variable is. Below are just songs I found. As you can see, someone on GitHub had just a folder full of songs for the piezo buzzer speaker. So what I did, I just took that and left his credit right there. He made both songs, the Super Mario Bros. And Take On Me. And that's the entirety of the code. Just Take On Me is right here. Yep, and going back to the top, the pass variable, if you remember from the RFID function, that is outputted. You can see it returns pass, so a 0 or a 1, and so then that goes to the the access variable right here, RFID. Then 0 or 1 can also be read as true or false. So access, if it's 1, that means it allowed access. That means you turn everything back to normal. PR value is 0, and you go access, read it again. And then here it's just an else statement. So if nothing else happened, then it's false or 0, and everything will go back to normal. So when I open the serial monitor, you can see the PIR value is reading some, and it just detected I moved. Yeah, and it detected I moved again, but you can see that it's reading 0 constantly, consistently reading 0, and then when I move, it should detect. Then you can see right here, so the motion sensor is right there, and you can see that it turns red when it detects motion. So then when I let's see here, gotta create some room for this. So I'm gonna use this white card for the RFID. So when it detects someone, then it waits 2 seconds for the RFID tag to read. So let's get it to detect. So it detects, and you can see the color is white for the LED, and the song is playing. Then it goes back to normal. And I detected motion again, but it goes back to normal. Then when it detects, try one more time. Detect motion. There you go. And then take the blue tag. Access was denied. You saw that LED flash red, and it's playing Super Mario theme. And that's how that works. On here, show this. So it's not reading any movement. So now, let's get the movement to be red. Found someone. Okay, and it's going back to green, and you can see it just went back to normal. And so then when motion was detected again, where'd it go? No, it fell down. Found someone. See, if you don't scan it within time, you can increase that time delay however much you need. So you can allow enough time for this. It's just hard to record with one hand. There we go, found someone. Access denied. And then it'll just go back to normal. So it's 0. That means the RGB, well, it detected my motion, so now it's green, and it's back to normal. And that's the magnetic door switch project.